Let's kick things off with that thought right there. It's kind of provocative, right? But it gets to the heart of this fragility we all kind of feel but don't really talk about. The truth is, our entire digital world is built on a foundation that's way more brittle than any of us want to admit. So, today we're going to dive into a pretty radical solution to that exact problem. We're going to explore something called the sovereign stack. And yeah, you heard that right. It's a system designed not just to survive some kind of digital collapse, but to literally reboot civilization from a single tough as nails box. All right, here's the game plan. First, we're going to unpack just how brittle our digital world really is. Then, we'll get into the sovereign stack itself, the hardware, the software, and the super important human element that makes it all tick. And we'll wrap up with the big idea behind it all, what it actually means to own your own infrastructure. Okay, so first things first, before we can even talk about the solution, we have to really, truly understand the problem. And it all comes down to the fundamental weakness in how our entire modern world is wired together. This image just nails it. On the left, you've got the linear model. That's our world today, totally dependent on these thousands of miles long fiber optic cables. It's a chain, and a fragile one at that. If one link breaks, the whole thing can go down. The goal is to get to the spherical model you see on the right, a decentralized mesh where there is no single point of failure. So how in the world do you build that spherical world? Well, let's get into the solution. And it's best to think of it as a kind of self-sufficient digital lifeboat. This isn't just one piece of hardware, it's a whole ecosystem. You see, every one of these sovereign nodes is built on three pillars. You've got the brain, which is RIOS, the operating system. Then you've got the heart, which is Agra power for off-grid energy. And then, maybe most importantly, you have the soul, the academy, which is all about the human training you need to actually run the darn thing. Okay, to make this real, let's actually unbox the hardware at the very core of this system. And I want to be crystal clear here, this is not your average office server. This thing is a survival tool. This is the Rios CC1000. And seriously, if you put this next to a normal Dell server, it would look like a tank parked next to a Honda Civic. It's built for what they call kinetic environments, which is a pretty polite way of saying places like war zones, disaster areas, or anywhere else where dust, heat, and vibration are just part of life. One of its key features is this aluminum Exo-Shell. It basically acts as a Faraday cage. Now, why does that matter? Well, it shields all the delicate electronics inside from invisible threats, things like radio frequency jamming or even a weaponized electromagnetic pulse. You can think of it like a reinforced bunker for the motherboard. But maybe the most ingenious piece of engineering here isn't about blocking things from getting in, but about how it handles the very air around it. Okay, this is so clever. See, your normal computer uses fans to suck air in to cool everything down. But if you're in a desert or a wildfire zone, you're also sucking in sand and ash, which is a death sentence for electronics. The RAOS unit does the complete opposite. It uses a high-velocity blower to create positive pressure inside the case, so it's constantly exhaling air out. Dust and sand literally can't get in. The point isn't just about cooling. It's about being able to ignore maintenance when you have way bigger problems to deal with. So now we get the fortress-like box, but what does it actually do? Well, the whole idea here is a massive shift in thinking. The cloud isn't some server farm thousands of miles away. The cloud is this box, right here in front of you. The software suite that runs on it is called Project Phoenix, and that name is no accident. It's all about rising from the ashes. It's a whole set of local-first applications designed to bring critical digital services back online after a total grid collapse. So what's in this digital survival kit? The standard setup includes Matrix for secure local chat. Think of it like WhatsApp, but it works even if the internet is gone. You get Nextcloud for file sharing, basically a local Dropbox. And then there's the BTC Pay server. This is huge. If banks and credit cards are offline, this uses Bitcoin Stack to create a local, internet-independent ledger so a community can keep trading. And the goal for all this? To get it up and running from a cold, dead start in under 15 minutes. But here's the thing, right? As the source material puts it, $1 million compute cluster is just an expensive space heater if nobody knows how to use it. And that brings us to what might be the most important layer of the whole stack, the people. This is where the D-Reticular Academy comes in. And its mission is not just to churn out students with certificates. No, it's to incubate sovereign nodes. We're talking fully autonomous, highly capable teams that can actually deploy and manage this stuff in the real world. And to do that, they've defined 3 key roles that have to work together. You've got the hands, that's the field technician who keeps the machine running. You've got the head, the sovereign entrepreneur who gets the business side of it. And you have the vision, the community architect who figures out how to weave this node into the fabric of society. Let's just look at that first track, the Certified RIOS Administrator, or CRA. This is the hands. Their job is to manage what's called the Zero Trust Bubble. That's basically a secure, self-healing local network that is completely 100% independent of any centralized service. These are the people who can actually pull off that 15-minute black start recovery we talked about. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've seen the tough hardware, the smart software, and the trained people. But what is the big philosophical idea that's driving all of this? Right now, almost all of us live as consumers. We plug into a grid we don't control. We use services we definitely don't own. The sovereign stack is all about a fundamental shift in that relationship, from being a passive consumer to becoming an active custodian of your community's digital and energy future. Which really just leaves us with one last question to chew on. Think about it. We rent our data storage from Apple or Google. We rent our communication platforms from Meta. We rent our computing power from Amazon. We've basically outsourced our entire digital existence. So what would it really mean, and what would it actually take to own it all ourselves? It's something to think about the next time your Wi-Fi goes out.